welcome to episode 108 of Relics of Orr. I am your host, Shongaku, aka Eric, and this is a show about Guild Wars, Guild Wars 2, and the Guild Wars community on the whole. This week, I am joined by a fantastic group of hosts. There are only two others this week, because, well, reasons? But, joining me, not from where she normally is Kate! Kate, how are you this week?
Hi, I'm actually excellent. I'm on break from school, and so I have like free time to do things like podcast and sit on the floor.
That's
wonderful.
Amazing. And we can tell that you were clearly busy this week because show notes did not exist until this afternoon.
Surprise!
I get this text, and it's, so are we doing a show this week? Are there show notes? And I text back, I think yes. I think I just texted the word yes, and that was my response.
I didn't get a response. All I got was show notes are now shared with you.
I cannot find your. I saw that you tweeted at me, and then I went and looked for it. Grybach, who is also hosting the show. Everyone wave at Grybach, even though he can't see you. Just do like a chat stream wave.
I'll wave at Grybach. You can see me.
It's like this. I just waved in stream in.
There you. Oh, that's
chat.
a wave. Okay. Oh, because there's a little head and he's got his arm up. That's clever.
Yeah, and then if there's two of them, it's a person going like this.
Yay!
Like
Emote time.
This too.
I never knew what that was. I was always wondering what people were doing with that. So there we go. And so now I know.
Welcome to Relics of Orr, where we teach our hosts how to do emotes.
So apparently this is like one, and it's like a O with like a / or a switch. And then you also have /O//.
You can respond and then do the /O and it'd be like a high five.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
I'm going to try it now in chat. Let's see how this works. /O. I can't do it. Oh, whew, it worked. I was successful. I just have a really large head. Anyways, apparently things have happened in Guild Wars 2 this week, so we're going to talk about those.
Oh my god.
If you guys have no idea what's going on, come to the live show. It's always amazing. So this week...
Eric's really bad at chat.
I am terrible at chat.
Terrible.
I ban people. I can't get my chat filter to go work correctly, so it always like changes the word to something else entirely. It's horrible. My life in chat is just terrible. And then when I do type something that I actually want written, usually I spelled it wrong, or I have like really bad grammar. So there you go. That's what you're missing. My bad grammar. You're also missing, if you're watching this show. Actually, you could be playing Guild Wars 2 and watching this, so you should do that. Just have us up on the side. You could be wandering around Lion's Arch right now. I hope that you are, actually, because Lion's Arch right now is very interesting. Have you guys had a chance to explore Lion's Arch?
Yes, I did a lap around it earlier today.
Really?
Not as much as I'd like to.
It's... Well, I didn't... So... Fill me in on this, because this is a part I don't know. Was there supposed to be a cutscene when you log into Lion's Arch?
Just when you log in
Very
anywhere,
brief one.
there should be a very brief one.
No, I didn't get it till I got to Lion's Arch.
I didn't get any all day
That's a
today.
shame.
I haven't been on in the last few hours. If there's been a patch or it's been fixed,
I think
I
they've
don't know.
patched it.
No.
Okay.
So,
But yeah,
I can start with the cutscene and you can talk about Lion's Arch.
By the way, we're going to spoil that cutscene really quick, guys. But don't worry, it's not a huge thing, and Zesber has an amazing point that we will be talking about. Grybach, what happens in the cutscene?
Basically just the jilt blows up. Like it's really short. It's I don't know what 10 seconds tops. It's basically just the giant drill exploding, and then Lion's Arch is now filled with drill bits and debris everywhere. So
that's it. Nothing causes it.
We blew it up.
You just blew it in.
It's the aftermath of our escape at the end of the it was blowing up at the end of the
I
last
see.
one.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I kind of forgot that. It's weird when there's like.
It just took it 2 weeks for it to blow up.
Yeah.
We had to escape quickly because the inside blew up, but then there was a time warp gap around the outside, And
Eric, I can't handle this. I don't have my tinfoil hat. I left it at school.
Yeah, no, you're gonna kill us with your tinfoil radiation.
mine's
like-
falling
I
apart.
don't even have a hat. I can deflect
absorbed
you with
so much.
couch pillows, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Wait, let's see.
Anyway.
I got more hats around here.
Okay, well, Eric digs for hats. I'll
I'll
tell you
wear
about
this
Lion's
for
Arch.
you.
So, Lion's Arch has been reclaimed by the Lion Guard and the diehard citizens. I was talking to one of the citizens today who was like, you know, it wasn't the exact line, but you know the sentiment like, I was born in this hole, I'll die in this hole. Like, there were citizens like that, and they made me really happy, even though they were being cranky and shooing me away from their houses. It's very barren. Nothing has really hit me, I guess, so hard as how empty Lion's Arch is right now. I did a whole circle around the outside, and most of the inns, all of the stuff over by the mole racing is just empty. No one's there, and I've never really appreciated how bustling Lion's Arch was until it's just very quiet. A lot of the music is different, the audio is different. You can tell, like, it feels like something has happened there, which is really cool. The other big thing is there's 3 memorials now that have popped up that are amazing. The first one is a heroes memorial to the heroes dedicated to Lion's Arch, and I believe it's just filled in with your character name that you're currently on. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
That one's cool. There's a missing persons one, which actually hit me pretty hard today, I guess, just with, I'm in the field of social work, and so this is kind of a thing that is relevant to my life and coming into the game and things that have been going on in real life lately. There was a note on the board that had, it said, in scrawled handwriting, I can't find mommy or daddy. And that just went straight to my heart. And then there's another one in White Crane Terrace for all of the deceased. And so we finally found out the NPCs who we've lost in the battle for Lion's Arch.
I have
And
a funny story about that, actually.
You have a funny story about dead people?
Way to ruin this touching moment about lost children, or parents lost children's lost parents and dead NPCs. I have a funny story about that.
It's a video game.
It better live up to what your story. Yeah, go do your funny story.
Look what
I
you've
hope it makes
done.
me feel better.
I know. I will probably feel bad about this later. I may have. Well, actually, I felt bad about when it happened because I walked up and I was like, "Oh, look at all these places. There's some nice, freshly dug dirt that they clearly are planning to build houses on. And oh, look, there's a nice little memorial over there." So I hop on the dirt, run across it, hopping along, you know, like you do in an MMO, jumping. And then I get up to the memorial, I'm reading it. I'm like, okay, that's kind of talk to some people, and they're like, oh, we're so sad. And then I read the memorial. I'm like, oh, okay, those are all the people that died. And then I hop off of it, and I start hopping across the nice dirt, and all of a sudden I'm like, wait, freshly turned dirt. Oh. Oh, I then immediately got off of the freshly turned mass grave that I was hopping happily across. I'm a necromancer.
You were literally the worst person.
I'm literally the worst person in Tyria
Literally.
ever. And so that is how I discovered that there is a mass grave in Lion's Arch.
I have to say kudos to the Arenanet team for making you feel bad for doing that.
Yeah. Grybach, all he can do is shake his head.
All I'm doing is like exploring all the new terrain and geography for things I can jump on and trying to like see if I
Oh
can
my
get to new places.
Goodness, there's
which
so
I've
much
fa-
stuff.
You know,
So
yeah,
what have
yeah.
you found that's like the most interesting that you can't quite get on top of?
I haven't found too
Such a
much lately.
specific question.
I haven't found too much quite yet. There was actually a spot that I got onto that you're not supposed to get onto during the first battle of Lion's Arch. When the very first time that Lion's Arch was getting blown up, the first patch.
Yeah.
over kind of by the beach. You could actually like jump way up onto those islands and in the burning shipwreckage. And I found some invisible flooring because you weren't supposed to get up there. So I was trying to get up there again because I figured there might be enough crash stuff that I could still get up there, but I didn't have time to quite do it. I did get onto like some sides of buildings that you didn't used to be able to get onto, from like jumping on wreckage onto corners that you couldn't quite get onto and such and stuff. So I'm actually really enjoying it from that perspective, which is kind of a terrible thing, but you know, at least I'm not dancing on people's graves, literally or figuratively.
I was not dancing. I was skipping
You're prancing.
Happily across.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay, that's probably not any better.
Yeah. That's.
Kate, what has been the most interesting thing that you found in your circling through Lion's Arch?
I actually got really excited because I found a script, and we had talked about prior to the thing. We were like, oh, all the script will come out of the sewers, and it'll be great because they have perfect diction in Lion's Arch, and where are they all? And then I don't think I've seen any script since, the whole thing went up in flames because, yeah, that's what Lion's Arch happened. And
because rats
now,
always desert a sinking ship first.
This is so... I have so much respect for this script now. Well, not respect, but, like, it
Envy?
makes sense in my head.
Yeah, they're pretty
Yeah, that was
clever.
probably a good idea to get out before everyone died.
Get out while you still can. That's
The-
not an Arnold
they're-
Schwarzenegger line, is it?
No.
The Skrit are in
Get
the
out.
Parrot Cave, looting all the shinies.
They are.
And
Oh, that's
I
awesome.
really like that they've kind of taken... It's not just, hey, this big disaster happened, and okay, we're gonna, yay, we're all, to quote Brom, we're Tyrians, we'll stand together, and like, they didn't like just pick up wood and start building. Like, there's actual consequences for this happening that are sad and realistic. And there's looters, there's people grieving the fallen, there's people still looking for missing people, and it's
There's
added
guards
elements
standing
of
around like a
realness to it.
that at a crime scene that are like, no, you can't come close.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, it's good, and
if-
I think
if you talk to the citizens, the guards are actually trying to kick people out of the city. A lot of the citizens that are sitting in front of their house are just saying, well, the guards are trying to kick me out, but we don't want looters to come through, because there's looters everywhere. And note where there are the most guards?
The bank?
The bank. Because there is a giant pile of gold inside that thing, and you run up to it and you try and jump in there and take all the gold. I was playing my thief. No, I was actually on my necro, but, they kick you. They kicked me back, and I was like, oh.
wait, really?
Yeah, they'll
Yeah.
kick you away from
I
it.
must not have.
And then if you
I
get
don't think I
close,
wandered through there.
one guy pulled out his weapons and, like, charged me. And I was like, whoa, bro, back off. I'm not going to take the gold. And the char was like, you
That's
better
really
not.
cool.
And I may have narrated some extra words in there, but that was essentially what happened.
The Lion's Arch, the Lighthouse, the words that I know how to say. I feel so bad. There was that whole arc earlier in last year, even, where the Karka Queen ran up and drop kicked the lighthouse off of the thing, and we were like, oh no, this wonderful piece of history has been lost in this tragic event, and we banded together and built a new one, and then I went over there to check on it. The old one is completely gone into the ocean, and the new one is fallen off the cliff, just tilted, and we spent like 8 months building that, and it's gone again. Not to mention, the fountain in Lion's Arch, that poor fountain has taken more abuse than anything else in this game.
Did
It
you
is
really
broken every
expect
3
the
months.
fountain to survive, though?
No, but I feel bad for it because we're like, hey, we're going to rebuild the fountain. It takes 3 months. We rebuilt the fountain. A month later, your fountain is dead again, or it's gone. It's never
I think
there.
it-
It's like it's supposed to be an iconic Lion's Arch thing, and it's constantly broken or gone. Constantly.
I think it'd be great if Mad King Thorn came back next year and it was still in shambles and he's like, ew, this base blows, and just like checks out and like goes to another city to wreck it. He's like, yeah, I've got nothing more to do here. Like,
Yeah.
Speaking of which, do you think that Lion's Arch is going to become an actual player city again, or do you think that it's going to now result in us going to the other cities?
I think will stay there. Judging by putting the memorials in and the way the citizens are reacting, I think our characters will become closely involved in the rebuilding of Lion's Arch, and I don't think it'll ever be the same. Like the way new passes have opened up and stuff, it seems to be making the city more cohesive for playing, as well as just being different. So I think they did really well in accomplishing everything the living story was about, in terms of rebuilding a zone mechanically, but also conveying a span of time as if it were a living world. Does that make sense?
It does.
I don't think I answered your question. I think I went around it in a roundabout way.
Grybach, do you think they're going to rebuild, or do you think that it's a burned out Hulk and that Lion's Arch will no longer return to its former glory?
I think it'll be rebuilt in some fashion or another. I would actually love to see the hub city change, as they sort of kind of alluded to about paying attention to where people were going now that Lion's Arch isn't a thing. I would love to see somewhere else become a central hub, either a new place or an existing place getting some reinforcements, like the Asura gates and all that kind of stuff, just to change things up. But I feel like that's probably not going to happen. I feel like Lion's Arch is going to stay the hub city once it comes back. I would think it would be a great opportunity to have certain things not get fixed, or to get fixed differently, or to perhaps improve the layout of functional services somewhat. I think there's a lot of room for doing those kinds of things where it will be different and it doesn't have to come back 100% the same, so that people that were there the whole time can feel like something happened, but still is basically there.
Yeah, the same
That's
but
what
different.
that's what I would predict. Yeah, a lot of the rhetoric was kind of like, Lion's Arch is gone and it'll never be the same. But I feel like the implication theoretically is that it's going to stay destroyed, but I don't think realistically that's what's going to happen. I think it'll be changed, but it won't be gone.
It's been wrecked pretty rough.
That's the whole
though.
theme of Lion's Arch, though, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
something always comes and crashes our party, but then
Sure.
we'll rebuild because we're Lion's Arch and we're Tyrians. We stand together. I can't get over that line. I'm sorry.
Speaking of Tyrion standing together and crashing parties, do you know who didn't crash Scarlet's party? The Pact. At all.
Yeah.
Which is
Nope.
interesting, because there is a single member of the Pact who has brought the airship that you see up in the air is not actually Ellen Keel's, because she stole a Aetherblade airship. It is a Pact airship that one of your buddies from the personal story flies in, and he's like, I had to beg Traherne in order to get this airship here, because we don't deal with a deviant attacking a single city, we deal with bigger threats. Someone
Right,
nuking a
yeah.
city is not a big enough threat? I mean, the dragons apparently are just happy spending their time in the north and in the Brand and not really doing much. I'm not seeing... I mean, unless the Pact is, like, actively fighting Kralkatorrik's minions in the desert and up north further than the players can see. Possible? Grybach, what do you think?
Yeah, we were talking about it a little bit in pre-show, and this sort of goes back to what we were talking about a couple weeks ago when we were talking about who was and wasn't satisfied with the finale, although that was sort of an aborted episode anyway. There's a certain extent to which I don't think anybody thinks that Arenanet has this whole wealth of stuff that they're just keeping back from us, trying to like string us along. I think that we're seeing what they've been working on and what they have, and if there's more that we wanted to see, then we would have seen it if it was ready. It's not that they're holding it back to just try and draw it out. So things like the Pact being there, I feel like that's more of a in lore justification for what a lot of people were sort of scratching their heads about, rather than like the explanation was put there because people had questions, not because they were planning something to deal with those dragons. Because when I read something like that, immediately it makes me want to say, well, then why can't we, the heroes, be going and dealing with the big important stuff like the dragons if that's what their whole airship fleet is doing?
Mhm.
Well, because we don't have technology to kill a dragon.
But we do, apparently. Yeah.
Oh, wait.
But, and I mean, because they're obviously not on any of the maps, so if we're going to try and take this to a logical extension from the lore, that would mean they're somewhere that we, the players, aren't, which just brings me back to wanting new territories, released. But again, it comes back to, that's what I want, but I don't think that they necessarily have that. Otherwise we would see it. So I mean, does that really answer the question? It's
Yeah.
kind of, it's nice that they put in an explanation, but I don't think that it's really like a hint towards any kind of other content, and I don't think it's really meant to be looked at too closely.
Yeah.
It's a quick answer to a question that a lot of people were
Right.
asking.
Malchior mentioned that we don't know where the dragon is yet, but we're not talking about Mordramoth. Spoilers. We are talking about Jormag. We know where Jormag is. We know where Kralkatorrik is. We have no idea where Bubbles is. We kind of know where Primordius is.
I think he's still underground, technically.
And we know where Zaitan is, because he's actually still alive. That's why our good friend, What's-His-Face, is not dead yet. Tequaddle.
What?
Oh, really?
Taquito. Zaitan's totally
right.
not dead.
He's totally.
Oh yes, our
No.
good friend who only
They're gonna
puts,
release-
tidal waves up the
they're gonna
coast every once in a
release
while, killing all our
a-
friends.
A 10-man or 15-man raid that is fighting Zaitan. Calling it now. 8
Mhm.
months. I guess November last time. I'm apparently going to be wrong. Whatever. He's just in the north. They know where he is. He's sitting right in the middle of Holbrack. Not Holbrack. What's the place that the Norn were back in the day? Gunnar's Hold?
Yes.
Didn't he just like land on Gunnar's Hold and he's like, I'm here. What up?
Well, we
He
don't
didn't
necessarily
have
know
to
where he
stay there.
stays.
That's
Yeah.
true. He could have moved. Lighthand didn't move much.
Yeah. Well, who knows? I mean, yeah, we don't really know. There's a lot of off-camera stuff that happens.
Mhm.
It's true.
I guess my one complaint, well, not complaint, but I
No, feel free to
almost
complain.
wish they hadn't mentioned, or it's nice to know that the pact weren't there because Traherne said no, we're not going to go deal with this. But at the same time, as the commander of the pact, shouldn't I have been up in Traherne's face being like, yo, there's things going on, why are we not sending aid? I will talk with my hands more. Yeah, it is strange.
Yeah, and that's sort of what I meant. It's like the quick answer to why wasn't the Pact there with all their airships to fight a giant airship battle, and they're like, Pact was busy with dragons. And that's sort of supposed to be the end of it, because, I don't think there was really enough depth behind it otherwise, other than basically a convenient excuse to give for why that wasn't part of the battle or why that wasn't happening. So I mean, there's only so critical I'm gonna get over that, but
Yeah.
again, it just all cycles back to the things that I want that we haven't gotten in Living Story, rather than a criticism of specific dialogue or anything like that. So
Speaking of things that we want that we don't get, drop rates in Guild Wars 2. They have, based on the recent, one of the big things on the Fractal CDI that people talked about was rewards, and so this patch they have actually increased the drop rate of Ascended weapons and armor, and in fact specifically they have increased Ascended armor drop rates in Fractals. What do you guys think of that? Kate, what exactly is, or Grybach, or we can all talk about
Kate.
this.
Ooh.
Kate.
Thank goodness, I guess, first of all. I've been doing high 30s, low 40s, trying to progress. I have a long-term goal of trying to get up to 50. And I would say maybe out of the last 9 runs I've done over 35, I've gotten two rings. And I know that's just me having terrible luck. But I haven't seen any armor or weapons, and it's getting really frustrating to do these really, really difficult bits of well, not really difficult, but complicated and time-consuming pieces of content.
It's still
and
some
then
of the
get
most
to the
difficult content in the game.
Oh, it is,
Hands down.
absolutely.
Yeah.
This is kind of off topic, but I do have to give a shout out to Ryan and Lacey in our guild, and also Trevor and Kelly, because we did a level 42 Fractal run, and it was by far the most fun I've had in Guild Wars 2 in the last several months, because it was that teamwork feeling in dungeons where we have to work together and everyone's saying, the gambit at 42 is it nerfs your endurance rate into the ground. You regenerate a dodge maybe once every 30 seconds. So we're sharing all each other's food. We were putting vigor on our bars to give to other players. We were calling out different skills we were using so that we could do everything. And it was fantastic to be in that sort of situation again, because I miss it so much. But yeah, and then we'd get to the end and none of us got rings. So, yay.
Or you get non-fused rings, or you get barbed swords, or
Yeah, I think overall, so in terms of drop rate, good that it drops more, but also I still don't have something concrete to work towards. I wouldn't mind having, really hard to get, so maybe like an Ascended chest takes 30 pristine fractal relics. I would go for that. I would rather do that than craft them, but it's still not concrete, and as long as RNG is still there, someone's going to have bad luck and be dissatisfied. I am not allowed to talk about luck anymore, because after I got a precursor last week, I had a 100 gold mini drop for me this week, so I'm not allowed to talk about my bad luck anymore.
No, you're not. No, that's like one person to talk about his bad luck after he got 2 Black Lion tickets out of two Black Lion chests, or like 5 Black Lion chests. Not ticket scraps,
What?
2 tickets. And then he was like, oh, my luck's so terrible. And we're like, really? Anger. No, actually, I'm not that angry. Maybe I am. I don't know. What do you think of the, do you think the changes are going to be helpful, Grindbach? Do you run Fractals very often?
I used to run Fractals, and I basically quit because it wasn't really particularly rewarding, and I enjoy them, but I'm at reward level 30, and I've done a fair number of like mid-20s because I was doing them with other people, or I was doing them just to get rings or relics, and so I don't know. I've probably done 60 fractal runs all told, and I got tired of it, and the rewards were not good enough to keep me doing it for another 60 times or even another 30 times. There wasn't enough money in it. It was, as Kay sort of said, it's not that challenging, but it is some of the most challenging content in the game. So if I'm doing some of the most challenging content in the game, but I'm getting tired of the mechanics, and I'm also not getting rewarded in a concrete way, like that gets frustrating. And rings. Let's talk about rings. I have, if I did like 60 runs and all but the first 10 of them gave ring potential drops, I had a red ring of death drop, and I had a I had a red ring, Solaria, and Vassar's ring, and those are the only 3 useful rings I
Solaria
got.
is celestial, though, isn't it?
Oh,
Yeah.
useful rings. I thought you were going to say the only 3 rings I got.
And then I got about 3 barbed signets and 3 purge signets, and that's it. I've only gotten like 9 rings, and 6 of them are garbage. And then 2 of the ones that I got, the Solaria and Vassars, I already had bought because that's how my luck goes. And it's just so frustrating me. I'm so frustrated about rewards in this game, and like last week was just the icing on the cake because my guild got, I think, 5 precursors out of the Mystic Forge last week.
6 if you count Kate.
No, I'm counting Kate, but there were like 2 other people that bought precursors also. So there were like 7 legendaries that got made last week in my guild, and I decided what the hell, I might as well throw it in, so I dumped 200 gold into the Mystic Forge and got jack shit again. And but that's a separate but related topic, as we sort of said. So I mean, I'll be able to comment better on it when we actually see the. I'll believe it when I see it, I guess is what I'm going to say, because just about for everything in the game, the standard response is, there's a chance to get precursors from X, or there's a chance to get ascended items from X, and they've been so rare that while some people get them, the vast majority of people never get them, and if they do get them, they get one that they don't want, and in the case of ascended items, you can't even sell them. So I'll believe when I see it, I guess. If they gave, like Kate said, a more concrete path to getting ascended armor, via fractal relics, that might be something I'd do, because it is kind of fun, and incremental progress is something that is a better carrot on a stick for me than random progress, because I don't have good RNG luck. The most expensive thing that's dropped for me in this game was 20 gold, I think.
Speaking of,
and I got 2 black dies in 2,500 hours of Guild Wars 1, and that was the most expensive item I got in Guild Wars 1.
That's brutal. You have Eevee levels of RNG. You need to play with Rabin and myself if Rabin was playing right now, because he has ridiculous
because then
RNG.
You get all the good items. And
no,
then
he improves everyone's RNG. He has an aura of RNG improving. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And
We
disturbing.
have a
Anyway.
guildie that's a magic find booster.
Yeah. He
For the
counts
party.
as a magic find booster in your party. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Anyways, there are more rewards that have changed as well, so we'll see what happens with the fractal ones, but specifically, they're changing glory. Kate, what exactly is going on here?
So we've built up to this for a long time, so hopefully it's not a surprise to anyone, especially if you were hoping to be able to save up glory for something. They've been putting this on all the social media and whatnot, but I don't think it was telegraphed in game. So if you did get caught surprised by this, I'm sorry. The glory gain has been turned off in PvP. You can no longer gain glory. I believe you can still spend it, but I haven't gone into the game, and this is part of their greater reworks of PvP. They don't want to use glory as a system anymore. They're converting it over to other things. So today, glory gain was turned off, but in the future patch, I believe they've said, and hopefully that's not too far off, because I feel like PvP rewards are really in limbo while they work that out. But in the feature patch, rewards will be completely reworked to be different in PvP. And currently you can get small, medium, or large rank up chests, and they drop stuff. I don't know. I'm not a PvPer. I'm sorry, guys. I just dabble in it a little bit. But yeah, so we're in limbo right now. Glory gain is turned off. You can still spend it. Make sure you use it up. And glory boosters are useless because you can't gain glory anymore. So I'm sorry if you have 50 of them in your bank like I do. I got rid of a few, and then I got another achievement point chest, and they all came back.
So tying into the glory changes and all of that, and the PvP shifts, I know that they've been teasing a wardrobe system for quite some time, and that shaman did find some in the latest client release. So do you think that that's going to be? Do you think that that's pretty solid to think that we're going to be getting one of those in the near future?
I think it'll be in the feature patch, personally. Yes. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily guarantee it by any means, but
yeah, I mean, obviously, data mine. We still have pole arms in the game that have been data mined, and fishing poles, which clearly are not.
But they've actually been talking about the wardrobe. I do think that their goal is to unify PvE and PvP skin to to sort of integrate the locker.
Do you think the gold system is going to do that?
I think that the reason I think the reason that they're getting rid of glory is because they don't want to make it too easy to get high-end PvE skins with glory, rather than doing content that may or may not be related to them for certain things. And so I think that's honestly, I think they're just trying to unify the mechanics and make it so that the common denominator is either something like tokens or something like gold.
I feel strange about that, though, because I would rather have PvPers save up glory to get. So take Aragir, for instance, because it comes from one of the most prestigious dungeons in the game. You have to be very competent in the game to be able to get this armor, unless you're buying it from speedrunners, but that's a whole another matter entirely. Yeah, so this armor is prestigious, and it shows some sort of level of skill in PvE, and I equated that to formerly in PvP, about the same. You've got a high rank, you've accumulated glory. I feel weird about people being able to buy it with gold that they accumulate. I would think that there would be some kind of rank requirement, and then they can buy it with gold.
There is a rank requirement for the various stats. So you do have to be.
It still just seems.
So I will not be able to buy anything when when whatever new form comes out, because I am a rabbit, and they will. Whoever's selling that stuff, I'm gonna walk up. I'm like, I want to buy something, guys, and that NPC is just gonna fall over laughing, and I might kill him actually, and then my rank might go up because I've killed an unkillable NPC because he laughed himself to death at my terrible, terrible rank.
Yeah, I mean, I think that things like rank requirements are an okay way to handle that, because I think one of the really important things is that we've all been kind of frustrated with PvP because it's not. Anytime that you take, it's an opportunity cost thing. Anytime that you take to play SPvP, if you're a PvE player, is time that you're not progressing at all in the area of the game that's your primary area of the game. And previously with PvP, that was the case too. If you went out and spent time leveling up or earning money or doing dungeons or whatever, it didn't help you in PvP because you couldn't unify that gear. And so by unifying the gear in some sort of equipment locker between the two modes, they will allow PvP players to get some time in PvE if they can then store that stuff in the locker for accomplishing that. And likewise, it'll allow them to have incentives like gold for PvE players to play PvP, or to, again, work towards certain skins that they could buy with gold if they PvP enough, that they can take back out into PvE. And so, the idea of having a reward that is useful in PvE, and what would really sell it for me is if they also gave you experience for PvP, so that you could level alts that way. Because you're auto leveled to 80, so if they could give you experience for doing SPvP so that your character gained PvE levels, like I might be a lot more likely to do PvP with alts, because I would get some money, and sure, it may not be as much as doing dungeon runs, or it might not be as much as doing champ farming, but it would be at least something, and I would be making progress. But as it stands, I kind of, it might be fun once in a while, but if I play 2 hours of PvE, that's, 10 gold I could have earned or whatever. Like,
I think my initial hesitance towards it is that I don't, not that I don't see gold as legitimate currency, but if you come up to me with a prestigious item and you say, I bought this with gold, I'll just kind of give you a look like, well, I worked 300 hours for this. So, I saved up, I scrimped, I dragged my guildies into dungeons, and, I scrimped and saved for this, and you came up to me and you bought this with gold because your job pays better than mine. It feels like it invalidates the accomplishment, and so
that's more of a problem with gems to gold, I guess. Because that's exactly what legendaries
all over,
are, and most of the game.
Yes. So seeing PvP convert to that system too, I'm a little bit hesitant about it. But if it's tied to a rank, if it's done in a reasonable way, then fine. I would look forward to it.
Yeah, I think that's quite reasonable. And speaking of the gem store, actually, there have been some new things on the gem store that you can spend either your gold or your gems on. Specifically, set 3 of the mini pets. They're going through the sets of mini pets faster than they.
Yeah.
Like, this is speeding up. So now
Yeah.
mini pets are temporary content, guys. Cough.
We had set 1 for like a year, and we've had set 2 for like
A few months.
not a
Was
year.
it really that short?
I didn't
Yeah.
look it up, but well, we're on set 3 and we're only a year and a half in, so
Yeah,
At
and
the
the
very
first one
least.
was
Oh,
a
yeah, that
year,
makes
so we're
sense.
at least it's at most like 6 months.
yeah.
So it's definitely
Tops.
going faster. What do you guys think of it? Do you think that it's got some cool stuff in there? Do you think you'll drop some gems on it or some gold on it?
I will not gamble on the trading post. I have made people physically prevent me from doing that because I don't have the money to spend on it, and I will inevitably just be disappointed. But in the mini set 3 pack, there is a mini Tybalt left paw. We need to get my hands on. So I think inevitably I will be saving up gold and buying it off the trading post because I will not gamble on it.
Yeah.
But I really want that mini. So
Yeah.
yeah, I won't be dropping gems on it for sure. Unless they want to give me a free one like they did a couple weeks ago, because I wouldn't complain about that.
Here's a question. We're a few months out from second year birthdays coming up for characters. Probably what it came out in September. So we're 6 months out or
6
something.
months. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are we thinking maybe first year packs are going to come as birthday presents this year?
Please no. Give us if you
Just don't give us the same mini. That was
That
so
too.
awful.
That's why I'm
I
saying.
was
Do you think we
so
might
disappointed
see?
with season 1 or
mini
year 1's
packs?
birthday presents.
So what if they gave you a set 1 mini pack for your second year birthday, and you get
I would
3
still be
minis?
disappointed. What I want in a birthday is something that shows that my account has been this old. I don't want other people to be able to buy it. I don't want,
Ah,
but I at
How's
the
that any
same
different
time.
from Guild Wars 1 though? You could buy other people's minis.
it's true.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, see, but it
Well,
didn't feel
I
bad
didn't
because
say
you
Guild
still
Wars 1
opened
was
it up and the
perfect.
minis were cool, and you were like, "Ooh, am I gonna get a Mad King Thorn this year? Am I gonna get a Mad King Thorn?" Also, we need
Yeah.
to combine Queen Jenna's and those Risen Priests into something,
The unholy union.
some unholy union thing. Like it will turn into
Yeah.
a scowling Logan Thackeray because
I would, I would really, I would like it to also be varied because I don't need 16 Queen Jennas sitting in my bank.
Yeah.
I think I have
yeah.
9, 10 possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little bit torn on that. On the one hand, like that is a way to actually get some value out of a birthday present, especially if they're not account bound on open.
Yeah.
Because you know, if minis, if year 1s are going out of supply because they're not selling them anymore, and are they still selling them? They're not, are they?
No, they're not. They will come back. Like, for example, Mini Pack 1 came back for a little while. And we did get that free Mini Pack 1 on sale,
Yeah.
which I hope everyone grabbed because...
So on the one
minis.
hand, that can give you a chance to get some value out of that. On the other hand, I mean, I liked that in Guild Wars 1, it was the forefront of what minis were. Or, you know, like it was always the newest minis. And yes, you could buy them from other players, which I pointed out to Kate, but yeah, like they were still the newest ones, and they were expensive and they were cool because they were brand new. And the gem store does kind of, you know, lessen that interest because, you know,
Just the
You can buy 'em
sheer
from the gem store.
number of minis, and the fact that you can acquire them from the gem store makes me not as interested. Plus the fact that they're not very functional.
yeah,
there's-
there's yeah,
They'll
But
go
they were
away every time
functional
I
in
get
Guild
down,
Wars.
or every time I zone, and they don't.
At least they
Yeah.
don't
Guild Wars,
deposit...
they weren't functional. I never said
In
Guild Wars
Guild
had
Wars,
a
didn't
perfect
they-
mini system. I'm just saying there's nothing about the Guild Wars 2 mini system that appeals to me more than the Guild Wars 1 one.
Didn't they in Guild Wars 1, didn't they stay with you while like between zones?
I believe so.
I thought
As
they
I
did.
think-
Like you just had to
I
take it
don't
out
think so.
once and
I think as long as you maybe they went away in hubs, but I think if you zoned between explorable zones, they would stay.
I think they did, but I could be wrong. I don't know. yeah, there's some functionality issues with that, and yeah, like you guys said, there's so many of them, and also the fact that since we're not getting things like expansions, or at least we haven't so far, there's a lot less identity to the newer packs. The newer packs are just like, oh, more animals, or like, oh, more NPCs that we already had. Whereas before, it was super kick-ass to be like, oh, this year's birthday coincides with Nightfall, so we're getting like flame gins and
Yes,
Jin. Oh my God, Palawa Joko and
Oh my
like
goodness,
Koss
yes.
and Milani, and I mean that was a fun, cool tie-in where it was like, here's your birthday present, and it's kind of related to the new stuff. And we have some minis that are related to new stuff. There's a mini Scarlet and there's like a mini Fallon and stuff, but they're not. There's not as much of an emotional attachment to them for me this year, or this game rather.
Yeah.
I would rather see something
Now,
new and not the same for birthdays.
Now, something that we do have emotional attachments to is our characters and their appearance. And they just released a whole bunch more hair, which gets me angry every time they release more hair. You know why? Because I dropped $150 on RNG packs and I didn't get a permanent hair kit, and I'm still angry about that. Gah! And now there's more hair that I can't just randomly change my entire account's characters based on. Oh, it makes me
I
mad.
wish I could have a permanent hair contract.
I would pay $20 at this point for one. Just
20. I would
straight
pay
out.
50.
No, don't give them that much of an idea. Don't bad Grybach. I'm passionate.
I would pay a large
They'd
sum
never
of
sell it
my
for 20.
very
It's
small
true.
student income
I
for
think
that.
they should. Well, I mean, they'd sell. $20 is a lot of money, guys, and I would pay it.
It's not a lot of money if you have to currently buy them in increments of one-time
That's
use
true.
ones.
I'd probably drop. I would drop enough for an entire game just to get the ability to change my hair across my account and hair color.
Yep.
That would be
too.
amazing.
That's always, we talk about opportunity for cost for players. We have to always think about that for the
That's
gemstone
true.
too. Like, there are things that we probably don't like that cost money, and it would be great to have permanent ones. But if they were to make it permanent, it would have to be at a price point at which it is on average equivalent to the number of players buying it would be on average equivalent to the number of players who would have bought the consumables and or how many they would have bought.
Yeah.
I mean, for the hair thing, for me, I think it's great that they're coming out with new ones, and the fact that they're not being stingy and making you buy new makeover kits. Because I bought a 5-pack and I didn't need 5, I needed 1 or 2. And so I still have like 3 or 4 makeup kits around. And so whenever one of these patches comes out, I can just double click and check them and see if I like them. And for the most part, I haven't really liked a lot of the new hairstyles, or at least liked them with the characters that they would have gone on. But it is at least really nice that they include all past ones and the new ones, both for the hair color and the hairstyles. At least there's some value in that. Like, you can always pick up a makeover kit and it will always have the complete set. You don't have to buy, the summer makeover kit and the winter makeover kit and those things. So I think it's great. I love that they're at least adding new hairstyles in general.
So I'm on Dolphy.net right now, so you guys can go over to Dolphy.net to check out all the hairstyles and just showing them off. What do you guys think of these new hairstyles? Kate?
Okay, most of them are fantastic. I really love the human and Norn female ones. The male human ones are okay, but still nothing really spectacular. The Norn male ones felt strange because there was a boy band
Your
What was
audio
that?
just cut out.
and it's
Yeah, your
very
audio
strange.
just cut out temporarily.
The Savari ones are fantastic.
Did you get the
No.
boy
Is it
band
back?
one? What? You're
You're
back.
back.
So there was a
You
boy
cut
band.
out on boy band.
I'm gonna scroll up to the Norn while you're talking about.
Yeah,
boy
the Norn
bands.
have a boy band haircut, which really messes with my head, and I can't handle that.
Is that the?
I think it's
Um,
hilarious.
is that
It's
the-
like a giant cow lick.
It is.
Like, how is
Yeah.
it's a yak lick? How is that not a perfect Norn haircut?
I guess it is a perfect
He
Norn
loves
haircut. I just
yaks,
didn't think of it
and he
that way.
just walked up to his best yak, and the yak was just like, "I love you too."
That's kind of a Frozen, if you saw Frozen, you'd get it.
I now accept this haircut. Okay,
See?
but other than that,
It's easier to explain.
I'm trying
why
to
the
remember
pack-
because I looked through all of these this morning.
And Arenanet does
Savari
have a
each
high
got new
def
haircuts?
gallery of these as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Sylvari got some good ones. There's a couple longer hairstyles for male Sylvari, which is nice because they didn't have it. Well, not many previous. I think there was a ponytail, and that was it. And they've got a cattail ponytail one and another shorter one. There's a lot of dreadlocks. The Char got a lot of dreadlocks. Maybe I haven't seen a new haircut that I'm satisfied with for the Char, and so I feel like they got shafted. But at the same time, maybe it's just a cultural thing that Char just really like to do dreadlocks with their hair. And also, apparently, the male Char like to put exhaust pipes in their hair because that is.
Would you say exhaust shafts in their hair? Because they're getting shafted on the haircuts?
Sure. The race that is
Okay,
not
I was
gonna
gonna compliment you on your segues, but that was a bad one. That was bad.
That wasn't even a segue. Like, I just wanted a really bad pun. It happens.
Yeah, no, that was bad.
I was going to segue off it. The race that does not get shafted in their haircuts are the Asura. Particularly the male Asura have an amazing haircut this time. That is it's a mohawk with spikes. The spikes are held up by
like
levitating
anti-grav
beads.
gems.
Yeah, and they move independently of the Asura. So while you're sitting there, they're levitating your hair above you.
That's
which
awesome.
is fantastic.
That's amazing. I approve.
That's pretty funny.
That
They also get like a Jack Sparrow haircut.
They have some really good haircuts, so you guys should definitely check those out. And check out the high-def models, or just look at it in-game if you've gotten one of the kits. You can just go in, start the kit up on your character, and you don't have to ever activate it, but you can actually get a preview of it and see the animations and everything, which is pretty cool. They also have coming out some new skins for the Dub v Dub season, specifically the Mistforged Hero weapon skins, which you get for, I think, 200 or 300 tickets from Dub v Dub.
300.
300 tickets, so if you place, what, fourth or better?
It's
Fifth or
like
better?
fifth or sixth even.
I checked. It's fifth.
Fifth
Fifth
or
is
better?
exactly 300. Sixth is like 250.
Which is going to tie into something else later. But, so, have you guys seen it? What do you think of these new skins? I'm going to take those over to Dolphy. Take them over to
Is there a
Dolphy
link?
really quick.
Yeah, can you link that in chat real quick?
I can.
I don't see
They all look like blades tacked onto sticks that make them effective as a weapon. Like the longbow is just a very long blade with a string on it, and the focus is like a blade with a handle, and yeah, it all looks sharp and dangerous.
It looks amazing.
Not
Have you seen the
very-
glow effects on these things?
I thought I did. Well, I am on my laptop because I'm off of school this week, and so my graphics are down to below our.
Oh, those do have cool particle effects.
I know.
I
mean,
like
just
that.
check out the hammer. The hammer's particle effects are amazing. The flat part of the hammer is this pulsing sort of light field.
I'll have to check that out because I haven't seen it with the particle effects.
And is it just
It's
me?
one of those things where like most of it's not really my aesthetic, but I do dig the particle effects. And that's actually something that's a little bit frustrating for me, is that they've added a ton of really cool particle effects in game on a lot of things that I consider are really hideous. Which I'm sure some people think that certain ones are cool, which is great. It makes me a little bit frustrated that a lot of my gear, all the gear that I really like, is gear that's already out and it's kind of plain, and then there's like amazing particle effects on these things that are either RNG gambles or time limited or extremely expensive or gem store only. But that's a separate issue. Actually, I think it's great.
What do you guys
and-
think about the fact that this is an amazing skin that's tied to doing an achievement in-game?
Mm-hmm. Well, kind of. An achievement and also...
An
and
achievement
also-
and your server.
Yeah.
I really wish, in terms of World versus World rewards for tournaments, this is leaps and bounds ahead of what it was last time. But it's still weak in that it doesn't acknowledge player contribution more than server contribution. Which it might be a World
That's
versus
kind
World
of the
thing.
point, though. Is it
Right,
is a
but you could
server
do-
thing.
I'd like a little
But
bit of
you
both.
can't. carry your server no matter how hard you play. And there's more reasons than World versus World to be attached to a server. Think about how guilds are structured.
Yeah.
If I wanted to go to a server where I could do World versus World well, I would have to leave. Well, I wouldn't have to leave Relics of Orr,
but you'd lose all your benefits.
but I couldn't contribute. Yeah, I couldn't use the guild bank. I couldn't, be effective in getting upgrades for the guild, or it would make it very
Well, you wouldn't get to benefit
hard
from those upgrades
to do
either.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm tied to this server,
Yeah.
for better or for worse, because of the guild, and I like this server. But if I can't, get my server to get their stuff together, if there's just not enough of us, it doesn't matter what it is. If we're just constantly losing, that's no fun. So I'd rather see rewards tied to, or the tickets tied to how much you put in, you personally
How do
put into
you
World vs. World.
track
If you're
that,
out
though?
there, I don't know, and that's the flaw in my plan. To be perfectly honest, I don't have a solution for this, but maybe making the achievements repeatable.
I
for the
definitely
meta
have
things.
some words to say on that.
Okay. How would
But-
you track it, Grybach?
It's okay. It's sort of a complicated answer because Kate brought up a bunch of things.
Well, you're
I think
a coder. You got this.
I think no, not a complicated answer for that. I mean,
Oh.
it just depends on how you want to reward people. I mean, data structures can track numbers of times you've done something with so little effort. It's disgusting. But like, I guess the thing is that there is no right answer, and the reason that Kate's having a hard time coming up with a good answer is because there isn't one. There isn't a good one, because on the one hand, a lot of us are frustrated when we feel like our particular playstyle that we enjoy is not well rewarded with anything unique. But then on the other hand, you get frustrated if there's something that you want for a playstyle that isn't necessarily able to be accommodated by you well enough, and you can't get it any other way, because the skins and the rewards don't come out in a broad enough field that you might only like this one skin. Like, this one skin may be the only thing that you have liked that's come out in Guild Wars 2 since release.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really frustrating if it's something that you don't like or you can't do or something like that, because then it's like, well, I want what I think looks cool, but at the same time you also want to be rewarded for doing a lot of work in your thing. And so that's part of what was so frustrating about Season 1 for World v. World, was that the rewards were essentially nothing. Like, there was nothing unique. There was nothing, like, winning basically got you nothing. Your server doing well basically had no...
You got a limited
a
use
temporary
finisher.
a temporary Dolyak finisher, a limited use one. There was like a mini pet, but I think most people wouldn't consider a mini pet to be a satisfying enough reward for being in the top 3 servers.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically, if they want to have something that's a unique reward, then they need to give you a big incentive for being in the top servers, which something like really cool weapon skins are an incentive for that. And of course, the natural consequence is going to be that you can't get it if you're not in the top servers. And we talked about this a little bit on the show notes, but there's a huge disparity in populations, both for PvE and World v. World, and I mean, they're kind of the same.
Mm-hmm.
And population is incredibly important in World v. World, especially, and there's really no way to both be rewarding for your server putting in the effort in World v. World and also be inclusive for players that are on servers that either can't or won't do that. And I feel like for the vast majority of people where World v. World is their primary focus, they're already on the servers that are into it because they're into it and they do that. That is their game.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't begrudge them for wanting things that reflect the fact that they are on servers because those servers are good at World v. World. And there's not really going to be an easy way for Northern Shiver Peaks to get World v. World participation. I think one way that you could do it is to have things based on, like, have multiple kinds of skins. Like, the weapons are from server participation, and maybe some other kick-ass armor pieces or something, or some other crazy cosmetic effects could come from your meta achievements or.
Oh, that's interesting. That's actually a really interesting idea, to have everyone have the same weapon skin and then the particle effect changes on your ranking.
Oh, that's not even what I meant, but that would work too. That's another thing you could do, because they've shown that they can do one skin with multiple particle effects based on how much you've jazzed it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's things like that. Or I mean, I think it would be, if you wanted to do something like that, you wouldn't be able to get anything that you wanted, but there could be a way to show prestige for having participated actively in a season of World v. World individually, and not have that take away from incentivizing servers to do well, because they would be different kinds of rewards.
Gold cape.
Yeah.
But they'd have to be good ones. Sure,
Except we don't have
capes in
capes.
general.
I love to see capes, but I mean, it's the same concept. I like that color thing. A lot of there's this weird worry, or there is a worry. I suppose it's somewhat legitimate. When gold cape trim came out, one thing that happened is those guilds started selling
guild slots to give away
the
cape
capes.
trim.
But then, wouldn't you lose the cape if you left the guild?
I don't think so. I think you got the trim for having been in a first place guild.
So you could go back to your own guild then with the gold
Something.
trim?
I don't remember exactly. I never really cared that much about cape trim. I just liked being
I
able to
didn't
have
either. I
capes.
was like, occasionally I'd be like, oh, gold cape trim, cool. And then keep on going on with my own less, more boring
Yeah,
cape
but
trim.
for an example, we can look at Super Adventure Box. You've got the Super Adventure Box skins, and for having completed different versions of hard mode, you got different colors that you could throw into the. You threw it to the Mystic Forge for a predictable outcome, not random. There could be a way to tie that into individual achievement, but I don't think that it's inherently bad to have rewards for the top servers, and I think they're handling it really well by having a carrying over ticket system, so that if you come in 7th twice in a row, you can get one weapon. I think that's a pretty good compromise. You don't get it now, but you can get it eventually. And to a certain extent, if it's really that important to you,
So, Kate,
yeah.
do you think we would see a problem like the sellers issue, where people are they all go to the first tier server if that happened? Or do you think that would be because they're offering free server transfers? By the way, it's free to transfer to Northern Shiver Peaks because we're really low. So please transfer, join us, help us with the coverage, and help us, be competent this season. I'm asking for 5th place. That's
No.
that's
Okay.
really I'm asking.
No. We were competent last season. We were in the wrong tier because a certain server
That's a good
threw
point.
their match before our thing, and I still have not forgiven them. I don't forgive World vs. World season. I take the seasons really seriously, but outside of seasons, I care nothing about World vs. World. Right now, I'm back into so help me if you run a Flame Ram, and if you don't have Flame Ram mastery, I will pick you up and remove you. But yeah, that's what was the question? I totally went off the World vs. World run.
To sort of restate that, the question is about whether you foresee people jumping to the high tier servers to get the World v World rewards. And I would say that with regards to the free transfers, because you can't transfer your guild, and by that I mean transfer the benefits of being in your guild. Like if a whole guild
Relics of Orr has everything unlocked. Come join us.
on every right, but other guilds
Yeah.
that's a huge disincentive to switch servers, even if it's free gem-wise, to lose everything that your guild has done and have to start from scratch. And I mean, that sort of goes back into a complaint that our guild has had ours, meaning Twit Guild, has had for a long time, is that we're a very widespread multi-server guild, and we have one server that's the guild for 8 or 10 of our primary members, and they have everything unlocked by now, but most of us are just on splinter servers because we belong to other communities like Relics or our own personal guilds or things like that. And the guild is essentially a glorified chat room, which is nice that we can do that, but it's extremely frustrating that our upgrades are tied to that. And so I think that until that gets fixed, if it ever, and I get the feeling it probably won't be fixed ever or for a long time.
It'll come in with guild halls.
Because of World v World, unfortunately, the way that they have World v World keep stuff integrated on that and have that, they don't want that across multiple servers from one pool. That's going to hinder anybody jumping ship really in either direction, I feel like. But especially to the free lower, like who would jump from a successful server to a no offense unsuccessful server, and also lose all your guild benefits?
I felt
like
the fence.
It's
sad.
it's not. Yeah, it's a challenge. Like server population imbalance is a huge problem. So what do you think about jumping ship, Kate?
In fact, that was cold enough. I'm going to put on a winter hat.
For those skins, I think because they persist from season to season, there wouldn't be a reason to jump ship, especially to the lower tier servers, to leave your guilds and the people you're familiar with to do that. There have been instances of guilds going down to the lower servers and trying to bring those servers up to the top, which I could see if you wanted to start a guild over, and this being free would facilitate that. But based on the rewards alone, there's no reason you would go to a lower server. As for going to higher servers,
would you spend $30 to go to a high server for that reward?
I wouldn't, but I'm a student and I have like 10 student dollars that I need to be spent on milk and bread,
chips.
not
bread.
gems. Oh yeah, those are like chips, except bread.
Is it better for you, in theory?
Yeah.
Well, speaking of things that, much like Northern Sugar Peaks, may lose, although hopefully we will not lose this server, or this year, or this season. A lot of people have lost things in Lion's Arch, and Kate, you have a pro tip for us in Lion's Arch for story folk.
Yes, go talk to everyone and anyone if you're very interested in lore, because all of the NPCs have new dialogues, even at the refugee camps. It's worth going around and talking to everyone and seeing what's going on. And if your heartstrings can withstand any more tugging after reading all of the memorials, I recommend hanging around the graveyard in White Crane Terrace, because there's some interesting ambient dialogue from one of the women there.
All right, there you go. And now, about an hour and 30 minutes into our wonderful podcast, we're getting to the point that all of you arrived for. And specifically, it is to hear Kate say a simple yet magical phrase.
Hello and welcome to Cast, the podcast within the podcast about the cast of other podcasts and the style of cast of other podcasts. This week on Cast. Festival is this weekend, so if you've finally gotten sick of hearing me talk about it every week, because I do talk about it every week.
I'm not actually sick about hearing Cast.
It is going to be this weekend. There's going to be live coverage of it. There's going to be in-game events if you are on a European server. The servers have not been announced yet, but they will be the day of. We just want to make sure that there aren't going to be overflows for the actual participants in Festival, and then we'll bring in everyone else that we can, because it's a community thing and we want to share it with everyone that we can. There's details about that on the Relics of Orr website. I will link them in the chat as soon as I get a chance. And also, Healing Over Time is 2 Saturdays from now. So it's on the 29th. We have our schedule all fleshed out. It is going to be wonderful. We're going to be doing all kinds of stuff. Guild Wars 2, Guild Wars 1, I have heard that we have an entire 12-man team ready to face in alliance battles if we can scape together 12 men for alliance battles. So I think we can too. Minecraft, Gary's Mod, Starbound, Secret Worlds, and more right here, Relics of Orr.
Quest Next Landmark.
Yes.
By the way, we have friends list. I have a friends list in that game now, so if you are someone, tweet at me at Relics of Orr. I will add you to my friends list. And my character is named like Darren because Shongaku was filtered by their name filter. Typed it in like 6 times and they're like, that is not an appropriate name. I'm like, what? How does it? What? That was my response. Anyways. Kate, do we have anything else in Cast?
I think that's it. Just come drop by on the 29th. We're going to be playing for charity, and it's going to be Relics Guild and friends. There's going to be all kinds of people here for 24 hours that day, so come and check by and see what we're doing and there will be opportunities to play with us as well. So
It will be epic.
Mhm.
Well, I think that's gonna close our episode for the evening. Unless you
Isn't it
guys have
episode 100 for
yes, it is. Congrats to Guild Wars Reporter on your 100th episode this week. Is it Thursday or did they do it last week? I don't know, but they're
I
getting
believe
there.
this
and-
Wednesday. They moved to
Yes.
Wednesday, by the way. So
Oh, they're on Wednesday. Okay. Yep. Happy 100th to you guys. Congratulations on lasting this long. I hope you have many more because you guys are fantastic. And yeah, congrats.
Very cool. Well, if you guys would like to ask us questions or comments, feel free to send us emails at relicsofwar@gmail.com or pop onto the forums at relicsofwar.com, and Kate will check those on a fairly regular basis, so definitely check those out. If you want to get in contact with me directly, Relics of Orr or at Relics of Orr on Twitter is one of the best ways to contact me, or send me an email at shongaku@gmail.com. If you'd like to contact Kate on Twitter, follow her at damviolas, that cursed... Is it Violas or Viola?
Violas.
Violas. So you're missing an S on your image. So there's an S there. And you can also follow Grybach at King Street Grybach. And Grybach, will we be hearing your will you be writing up a post this week on your review of season 1? Hint?
If you couldn't
Yeah,
tell by
it's the
by
blog
that
carnival.
exclamation, I totally forgot about it. And the Guild Wars or the Guild Mag blog carnival is Thursday, I believe. So
Maybe.
the deadline is like Thursday or Friday. So I had planned on it and then promptly forgot about it. So I will get busy and write a lot.
Good luck. It was this is, should we submit this as our blog carnival? Except we didn't really do a season 1 review. Now that the actual season 1 is finished, next week we will try and do a full-on just sit back, relax, and talk about season 1. The last thing that we're going to mention, though, is when do you guys think the feature patch is going to come out? I'm guessing April.
I'm gonna guess mid-April after Super Adventure Box returns, which is completely unconfirmed by anything. But I can only assume.
Someone watched saw a continue coin.
That's true. That was an accident, though. That was a bug.
Oh,
It wasn't supposed to be in the loot. No. But it wasn't supposed to be in the loot table. But that doesn't mean the fact that it went in the loot table probably means that it's coming up rather than a completely random bug. I mean, it is April 1st. It's not.
Right.
It should surprise. In a move that surprises nobody, the Super Adventure Box returns on its inception date.
Yeah.
Cross
I
the
hope
I would guess
fingers.
late April.
Well, we will see you guys. We hope that you have a good week, and we will see you in Guild Wars 2. Take it easy, guys.